Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and Happy New Year's. Welcome to another exciting episode of Canadian Mosaic, and I'm your host, Prashanth. And tonight, our episode is about a story of a young technical professional and his journey through short films. If you've been keeping up with the show, you might have noticed that all of the guests have something in common. All of them have taken the initiative to pursue their passions, and tonight's guest is no different. Tonight, I have the pleasure of introducing a multi-talented individual, Sam Bhat, who is an Indo-Canadian engineer, lecturer, artist, actor, producer, author, global geosynthetics professional, and a VP of Global Department. Sam Bhat holds a master's in engineering from IIT India from New Delhi and possesses a specialized background in interdisciplinary engineering and geosynthetics management. He has served the global synthetics market for the past 30 years and having worked with some of the world's leading geogrid organizations in the UK, USA, and Canada. He has been involved in producing and directing various performing arts events with the charity component, such as Sam's September Fusion event done in 2015 in support of Canadian Cancer Society, and Sam's Salute to Bollywood 2019 in support for 360 Kids. Recently, he has to be commended for his efforts in writing, producing, and directing the short film Surprise in the Night. Welcome, Sam. I'm honored and thrilled to have you as part of the show. How are you doing this evening?
Thank you, Prashanth. I'm doing great, and thank you for inviting me tonight.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you as part of the show, and you're such an accomplished individual. You've got so many things that I wanted to dive into. So your technical career, as well as your passion for the performing arts as well. So I want to go both into your careers as well, if that's okay. Okay.
I think you exalted me too much.
No, it's a fact. Like I was literally trying to count how many things that I can describe of you. So I want to talk about your technical career first. So can you tell us what exactly is geosynthetics and your journey in your career for the last 30 plus years?
30 years, that's correct. Prashanth, well, to put in the simple terms, geosynthetics, geo is earth, right?
Yeah.
And synthetics means man-made materials. Okay. So these are basically polymeric materials. Okay. And I think there is a warning sign to the humanity that we got to minimize the carbon embodiment, reduce the carbon footprint. You must reserve our resources, go to a more circular economy. So geosynthetics have been, these materials have emerged for the last 30 years in pursuit of doing construction on projects like civil engineering, geotechnical, environmental, and a smart, clean tech solution, which is environmentally friendly and at the same time cost effective. So these materials are in the form of meshes. Either they could be impervious for a landfill system, for example, to contain it, so there is no hazardous waste coming out. Or it could be in the form of a mesh. It has got a high tensile strength and all to construct on a weak soil, and you can reduce the level of the gravel on pavement rehabilitation, on foundation engineering and whatnot. And that is the whole magic of geosynthetics.
Wow, that's a very interesting field for sure. I know that in the last little while, the industry is changing quite a bit in the last 30 years or so. But how has the industry changed over time, and what does our future look like in this specific field?
Well, that's a good question, Prashanth. Actually, when I started it in the year 1990, December, it was in the embryonic stage at that time, this technology. So obviously there was no competition. It was a resistance to change because any new technology comes in, it's human nature. It takes time to digest it. Yeah. So then we worked on it and did a lot of experimentation, did a lot of research and evidenced the research and to show to everybody in the world, hey guys, you have been doing the design by conventional engineering methods. Let's try this alternate method and compare the two. If it makes some sense to you, why don't we have a pilot project? But today, there are many companies in this field and the government agencies welcoming geosynthetics. But again, it's 30 years now, as I said, but still there are a lot of people who don't know much about it. That's the reason I have been traveling in the world and giving lectures, collaborating on research and educating the engineers, you can say, educating the educators that guys use it and it is good for your country, good for your nation, and more importantly, good for the whole globe. And we must save it now, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Especially with all the things related to climate change and so much more. So I think it plays a bigger role in today's life.
Yeah. Human beings are very smart in their disaster management. But why can't we be proactive when there's a warning signal? Why can't we plan then, and it would be much easier than to handle things, right?
I think a lot of it is related to being more self-aware of these things. So that's why, like, I think a lot of people are talking about things. So we also had a guest that talked about climate change. So it's great that we're having this conversation. So can you talk about a memorable project in your field? So I'm sure you've worked on multiple things over many years in different countries as well, just so the viewers can kind of understand the type of projects involved in this field.
Certainly, it's an interesting question, but a difficult thing to answer because there are
too many
hundreds of projects we have done. But let me tell about the Canadian project, because I have done in Middle East, Asia, Europe, North America, South America, we have been involved with. Well, it reminds me, it was a rail track project in 2014 in Winnipeg. So they wanted to have one more rail track on the side. You know, when you talk of geosynthetics, we talk of construction on the very weak soil. So they had a conventional method of doing it by lime cement stabilization, all those old techniques. And it was so soft soil, you know, the subgrades are very weak. If they would go by that method, it would have taken them a long time, very expensive. They couldn't do it. Like, it was so soft, a man standing could sink in. So we used the geosynthetic mat, this GeoGrid, with a composite product, and it made the project went very quick, and it was cost effective, environmental friendly, because we could reduce the level of the gravel on that. And you can imagine it's a railway track, so these are very heavy dynamic loading moving on that. And 2014, and today is 2021, it's doing pretty well.
Wow.
So it was a rail track extension of the CN rail, and they were very pleased with this project. And it was with Titan Environmental. That is a leading geosynthetics global organization, you know, solving the problems. Because we say it's not just a product, it is a right material, right design, and right installation. That's what Titan Environmental is doing.
Wow, that's amazing. Is there a specific aspect of the project that was more memorable than the others, or was it just like the impact of?
Oh, it was the project. Like the nature of the project was very precarious. The conditions were very hard. So, and it was a critical project. I mean, you're talking of rail, you know, heavy rail cars on the tracks, and then the subgrade is very weak. It happens every time. And what happens with the time, the geometry of the track changes because there is a subgrade failure. And the engineers or the agencies put more and more of ballast. And that's even more dangerous. That traps water. But with this method, it's slick and it's clean, you know. So yeah, we're really proud of this project.
Definitely.
We don't have much time today, but maybe next time I can tell you some more interesting projects.
Absolutely. Like, I want to kind of talk a little bit more about your technical career before we move on to the films. So I noticed that you are interested in a lot of research, and you've done a lot of research in the past as well. So how did you come across these kind of opportunities, and what was the general theme behind them, just so people can understand there is scope in this field where people can actually like go in and kind of do more research on this as well?
That's right, Prashanth. I personally feel that whenever a new technology comes, it needs to be proven, it needs to be evidenced. And when you want to promote it, of course, there should be confidence. And you develop a product, and then you do a project and just forget about it. So, and that's not good. We don't know how it is going in its lifetime. So that is the reason we got engaged in university projects. I guide many PhD students in Canada, in University of Waterloo, in McGill, in other places. And we are the industry sponsor. Like, I do this research on behalf of Titan Environmental, and they have their the guide from the university as supervisor, and we are from the industry. So it is very important to have an industry and academic interaction. Then we can develop products, we can do innovations, develop more applications. We do some lab scale modeling. We get the pertinent data that will help us to make the right design equations, right? And do the field studies, because, you know, in the lab you can model reality, but not every aspect of it, right? So yeah, that's what we have been doing, and we have been getting some interesting results. And it has not led just in product development, it has led in technological advancement. And that's what our aim is, basically.
Yeah, that's amazing. So let's shift gears into the other version of yourself, which is your interest towards your performing arts in the artist industry. Can you enlighten us on how you got involved in this whole entertainment industry and all the activities that you're doing in the community, as well as, you know, in the filmmaking process? How did you get involved in this?
That's interesting. Actually, Prashanth, you know, artistic thing, you know, it cannot be inculcated. It is in you or it's not in you. Well, an engineer, it's our experimentation. I can make an engineer, give him a rigorous training in the lab and the class, and he comes as an engineer. He can do a good job. But if the engineer wants to innovate and wants to explore unknown, he has to be an artist.
Right.
If he's not an artist, he can't go beyond.
Right.
And that's true. So from the beginning, in my earlier years, when I was a teen, I was always fascinated by the arts, because I talked that time to myself, we can correlate engineering, 2 and 2 make 4. I can make an equation in calculus. But in the life is much more gray area, It's hard to quantify it, right? And so I always wanted to be associated with some performing arts. That was an intrinsic flair I had, and film was one of those. And when I was a kid, I used to see the film twice or thrice if I had missed to see the cast of the film, the credits of the film. So I wanted to know exactly who did what in the film, And so since then, it went on with me, but I became an engineer. I went to engineering management and systems modeling. But this thing was with me. So I did some work in India that time. And, I worked with some, well-known artists in India. I also was managing this Pick Mackey with many artists in India, classical dances and film actors. And then finally, I wanted to try it myself. And I think the time has come and I tried it.
Yeah. Leading into my next question, right? A lot of people will get involved in a small scale, either it's acting or a specific part of directions or camera work or something like that. But you've actually accomplished something of creating your own film as well. So what made you to go far as producing and directing a film? Because that's a lot of effort. That's a lot of work, which we'll get into in our next segment. But tell us a little bit about what made you go as far as producing and directing a film.
That's right. See, in fact, when I thought of films, I had a lot of storylines in my mind, and then I wanted to treat them myself, because it's a very sensitive thing, So I had in my mind always looking at the personalities of people are different, right? Everyone is unique. Every human being wants to identify himself with others, but at the same time, he wants to define himself from others. And that is how the personality dynamics works. So I had in my mind the perception versus fact, that people perceive things sometimes wrongly just by snap judgment. And the decisions they take have wrong results. I wanted to use that theme to make my first film. And that's what I used and finally did that.
Wow, that's amazing. So we're going to take a short commercial break, folks. And when we come back, we're going to take a look at Sam's latest film, Surprise in the Nice. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
It's good to dream big, to own a house and a business. Get residential and business loans. Get insurance to protect your dreams. Get your children in university education without monetary worries. Invite your family from back home to share your success in Canada. Me and my team of professionals will help you under one roof to settle down in Canada.
Amber Financial and Allied Services. Call now 647-887-1696. Amber Financial and Allied Services. All services under one roof.
आपकी रिहाइश ऐसी हो जहां जिंदगी की सहूलत मयसर हो, जो आपको बुलंदियों पर ले जाए, तो मिलिए रियल एस्टेट मार्केट के एक्सपीरियंस्ड रियल एस्टेट प्रोफेशनल अमित ओबेरॉय से। GTA में रियल एस्टेट मार्केट के हर अंदाज से वाकिफ। आपको घर खरीदना हो, बेचना हो या करना हो मुनाफे का इन्वेस्टमेंट, मेरे तजुर्बे से आज ही फायदा उठाएं। आज ही कॉल करें अमित ओबेरॉय 647-291-8102। अमित ओबेरॉय, ब्यूटीफुल होम्स यू कैन अफोर्ड।
Now it's fully renovated. Live catering, barbecue, tandoor, जलेबियाँ, fresh naan. तकरीब आपके घर में हो या घर से बाहर, Zoc is providing full service now, and Zoc has opened a new banquet hall, garden event center. आपका Zoc देखकर लोग कहेंगे क्या Zoc है आपका? Call right now 905-625-7786. Zoc वालों के लिए।
डिक्सी इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स और अप्लायंसेस पिछले 16 सालों से खरीदारों की खिदमत कर रहे हैं। हम लगातार 4 सालों से खरीदारों की पहली पसंद बने रहने का अवार्ड हासिल कर चुके हैं। हम किचनर्स, बॉश, वर्लपूल, LG, सैमसंग और जनरल इलेक्ट्रिक के ऑथराइज्ड डीलर हैं। 5 स्टार खिदमत का लुत्फ लें। हम आप सभी को टीवी सबसे ज्यादा रियायती दामों पर देने की गारंटी देते हैं। www.dixieelectronics.ca हमारी वेबसाइट पर जाएं या अभी कॉल करें 9056255900। सभी बहुत ही मुनासिब कीमत पर दस्तयाब हैं जो आप आसानी से ले सकते हैं। At Dixie, we sell quality and deliver confidence.
अगर आप चाहते हैं खूबसूरत विजिटिंग कार्ड, साइन बोर्ड्स, बिल बोर्ड्स, तो कॉल कीजिए अमनदीप सिंह को 416-577-5128 416 डिजिटल साइन। कॉर्पोरेट इवेंट्स हो या शादी की तकरीब, बर्थडे एनिवर्सरीज हो या हो बेबी शावर, और अगर आप चाहते हैं स्टूडियो सेटअप, रेंटल बैकड्रॉप्स, हार गजरे या पार्टीज के लिए फ्रेश फ्लावर अरेंजमेंट्स, देन कॉल आफिया खान at 416-628-7849. Essence Event Decor, creative, elegant and unique. Engage in CCTV security cameras, doorbell video and alarm system installation since last 20 years in Toronto. Certified team of professionals serving Ontario, completed many residential and commercial projects successfully. High ranking reviews on Google, Better Business Bureau and Home Stars. 100% satisfaction guaranteed. For free estimate, call Firoz Khan at 647-504-8325 or visit ASEAN Technology, Gateway of Communication.
Welcome back to Canadian Mosaic, folks, and we have Sam Bhat in the studio, and our focus tonight is on short films. Before the break, we talked a little bit about Sam's journey through engineering and the performing arts. Now, let's take a closer look at his most recent accomplishment of his short film, Surprise in the Night. So, Sam, first of all, congratulations on the film, and can you please tell us a little bit about the film and the motivation behind it?
Well, Surprise in the Night, thank you, Prashanth. Yes, as I said earlier, that was the perception versus fact was in my mind, and that led me to write a storyline and write a script for this film. And it was there for many, many years, and until we really did it in 2019 and 20. And we had, of course, challenges of COVID and all, as you know. Yeah, so the film is basically, it's a surprise in the night, and it has lots of surprises at different layers, and final surprises happens in the night, obviously. And this is on women empowerment. And the character there's a female lead, and she wants to question the male gaze and questions the female stereotypes, and she runs the office very well. At the same time, she has got her wild side as well, and we try to weave it in a storytelling in a relationship manner in an office, and in a comedy, I would say more of a comedy. At the same time, we thought, let us also give a good message. Entertainment is the main goal, yes, but I personally believe every entertainment should have some meaning to it, some message to the mankind. And the message was, again, the clean technologies, which we amalgamated with Geosynthetics in the film. And the film did very well. And it has been seen in around 20 countries so far.
Wow. Yeah. It sounds like you're really blending in a bit of your engineering tactics and your passion as well, and all coming into this film all together right now. That's awesome. So I understand that, there was a lot of people in the films. I've seen the film personally. It's a great film. And what was the casting process like? I'm sure it was not an easy process. You have to find specific characters based on the script and everything else. So what was your approach like in finding the right kind of actor for the film?
That's right. What happened is it's always whatever you want to do, you should have some formal training. And I went to EVN Film Studio here in Toronto as beginner and intermediate for acting, basically. And there I got some, in the networks, and met some people. And then I did a short film called The Works with Sundance. And there I came across some very talented people, young people, Canadian talent, as we call it, North Hollywood here in Toronto. And when I showed the script to them, they were very elated. They said, wow, we want to be a part of it. And we did auditions because we wanted the right person for the right character. And they did a fantastic job, as you know. And And then finally, we shot the film in 2019, and then little in 2020, and then we put it to various film festivals. And till now, we have got around 10 awards in international film festivals. We have got 16 festivals. We have got 4 finalists. We're talking of, Montreal International Film Festival. We're talking of, for example, Canadian Cinematography Awards in Hollywood, in India, in Singapore, and whatnot.
Yeah. No, so the filmmaking process itself must be like very laborious and tedious as well, and it requires a lot of patience and endurance. And I'm sure you've probably had some obstacles because of the pandemic, so 2019, 2020, and then releasing it in 2021. So what kept you going and keeping you motivated to accomplish this project, as well as taking the project to another level, like going to these film shows and so much more beyond that, just making the film as well?
Prashant, when it's my first film. Obviously, it was learning process all throughout the filmmaking, But I must tell you, it has made me to learn a lot, and I have learned patience after making this film. And unfortunately, we had the sound recordist. He passed away during the filming, So it was again difficult then, to change over and all. We did have lots of technical issues down the road, and we did not cave in. I just tried to dig in, and that was the motivation that we have to do it. So there were some terrific technical issues that came on the way in the post-production, for example, and we had to do some VFX and all. But end of the day, I said, no, we're going to do it. We can't do it here. I'll go to Hollywood and I'll do it there. And eventually we did it. Well, when you talk of the filmmaking, as it's too much pressure on you, and especially when you are the director, you are the producer, you are the writer, and you have a small role, never do that. And I am blessed that I had a wonderful co-director, Aaron Roderman, with me, and without him, it was not possible. But to take all the roles, to take all these major roles, it's too much of stress on you.
It is.
But end of the day, we did it, and in fact, my lead actor, she also got an award, and everyone is a part of the winning process, I would say, end of the day,
No, that's fantastic. So it's very inspiring that you're able to, perceive yourself through so many obstacles and still, deliver a successful film as well. So as a filmmaker, right, there's always certain things that the audience expects. So what would you say that your responsibility to an audience is? Is it a message? Is it like the entertainment aspect? So what's your take on that?
As I said, entertainment, yes, but message is also even more important. I think in today's world, as we talk of women empowerment. I may tell you, even the women in films, just 20% in the world. I mean, come on, we are modernizing, we're moving forward. There's a big gap there, right? So it was to show the women empowerment. And especially, I tell you honestly, when the women are in very important positions in corporate world, for example, it doesn't matter the country, there could be a difference in the degrees or levels. Sometimes it's challenging for them, and these things we need to address. And filmmakers have a big role to play to change the society. And if every filmmaker thinks entertainment is for sure, people must enjoy, but at the same time, it must be coupled with a very pertinent message that can make life better for some people, And that was I think, our goal, and we more or less achieved that goal. That was the reaction I got from the audience that, hey, Sam, it gave a wonderful message. I think we were happy that we did what the objective was achieved,
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. I think that was a good message that it's been told. So being an engineer yourself, do you find that your experiences kind of helped you with some of the technical aspects? You definitely need a different eye when it comes to filmmaking, right? So do you find that your experiences kind of, helped you with the art of films, or?
I would say that it did help in understanding. Of course, you see, it's a different technology, filmmaking. You have cinematographers, they are trained in it. But yes, it helped me to understand, to visualize the angles, for example, the type of shot. I would say, no, I want a long shot here. I want a close-up here. I want to over the shoulder. So those things, probably because of my technical aspects, I could stick my handle on those. And it helped in the end of the day anyway.
No, absolutely. So I think you've also mentioned that there's some challenges with the film, right? So what do you feel was the toughest part of this film in general as a whole?
I tell you, when you're on the set, a lot of things can go wrong. I mean, it's like a wedding, you know. You have 30 to 40 people on the set, and you have to get the dialogues through, and you have to put the stuff through, you know. We had limitations of time, for example. We have been given some hours to shoot in a particular restaurant, for example. And now, by the time we have to go, our cameras are ready. Right. So we have 10 minutes to do the shot and go. So you can imagine the pressure there. And then we had certain things to do in the post-production, which we thought is easy when we are filming it. Then in the end, we found that we had to remove certain things in the background, and we had to do VFX. It took all the time, and finally it goes beyond budget, right? So yes, but then definitely it's learning, right? And we tidied over those things, and finally you saw the film, so you won't know those stuff what we went through, but I know.
Most definitely. Like, I'm sure you go through like frame by frame that you know what are the things that happen in the background. And
you know, when you are when the sets, it's a 12 to 14 hours. So I put coffee, the food all the day. It's frustrating, but I think when you see the first final cut, product, you get relieved. Hey, wow, we did it. So, and then it's like an addiction, you know. After this, you want to make one more film.
We'll definitely talk about that soon. But Sam, like I want to ask, being a multi-talented individual yourself, right? So what do you feel is the toughest role in the film? Like, just the filmmaking process itself. You know, actor can just do the acting part, the director could just directing. But what do you feel is the toughest role that you've experienced yourself and just as a whole?
I think the toughest role I have experienced is taking all these things in me to do it. For example, as I said, as a director, as a producer, writer, and an actor. So this was very tough. But I think if I had taken only one or two, I think it was the first film, so I wanted to experience all the facets of filmmaking my way, you know. And that was really tough. It was too stressful, you know. But then I think we had an amazing cast and crew. I must tell you that. See, you can't make a film a single person. It's a team effort, you know, and there has to be passion. It's not just we are working in an office and doing some work. Well, of course, that can be passion in that too. But here, if everyone is not really motivated, we want the best, we want to exhibit our best, you can't get the final product, which people will say, wow. You know, and tell you honestly, once the film was completed and the reaction we got from the audience, it was very fulfilling. You know, we never knew that that's going to happen. So,
no, it was brilliant. So, you talked a little bit about the reactions from the audience, right? So I'm sure there must have been some sort of mixed type of reaction. Maybe not everybody absorbed it the way that you expected them to. So in general, like, how do you deal with, critics and reviews from people?
Well, the people told me it's not ended. So what's going after that? I think that was the best. that was the best remark. I said, "What do you mean it's not ended? Hey, we showed the last scene." They said, "No, what happened after that?" That's interesting.
Are we potentially expecting a part two of Surprise Night,
in a short film, it's always better if there's an intriguing story. It goes, the flow is fast, and you're on the edge of your seats watching it. You want to know what happened after. And I must tell you, in a short film is even harder to make than a feature film because you don't have time to waste. You have, say, 20 minutes, for example, and you have to create a story, climax, everything, and you just can't waste your time, So many people told me, hey, we want to know what happened after. And that has led us to write the script for the feature.
Oh, wow. So what is the next steps that we're looking at? Is there something coming up after Surprise in the Night? Or?
Yeah, actually, as you know, it was a short film, and it has been well received in the world by very well-known international film festivals. And now I am writing the script for the feature film on the same theme. And before that, we are going to work on a short music video that will also depict the story of the feature. And we want to promote that music video once it's ready. It will be a very interesting video. And after that, we will put that video also in the feature film.
Oh, wow, interesting. So it sounds like
that is our plan, but there are many more. I can't tell you everything this time, but that is our path going forward.
Got it. So it sounds like it's a lot of these small pieces coming together eventually for the feature film. Okay. So that's amazing. So it's so inspiring to just hear your journey of how you became a filmmaker as well. So folks, we're going to take another commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about following your passion and becoming an artist themselves. So stay tuned, everybody.
Thank you.
It's good to dream big, to own a house and a business. Get residential and business loans. Get insurance to protect your dreams. Get your children in university education without monetary worries. Invite your family from back home to share your success in Canada. Me and my team of professionals will help you under one roof to settle down in Canada.
Amber Financial and Allied Services. Call now 647-887-1696. Amber Financial and Allied Services. All services under one roof.
दावत इस्लामी का एक शोबा जामियातुल मदीना, जिसकी तकरीबन 891 ब्रांचेस दुनिया के कई मुमालिक में कायम हैं। कमोबेश 67,000 इस्लामी भाई और इस्लामी बहनें बगैर किसी फीस के आलिम और आलिमा कोर्स कर रहे हैं। इनमें हजारों वो हैं जिनकी अकोमोडेशन, खाना पीना दावत इस्लामी के जिम्मे है। आप भी डोनेशंस के जरिए इस शोबे के साथ ताउन कर सकते हैं। आपके चंदे यानी डोनेशन को किसी भी जायज दीनी, इस्लाही, फलाही, रूहानी, खैर ख्वाही और भलाई के काम में खर्च किया जा सकता है। आवाज एंटरटेनमेंट कनाडा का सबसे ज्यादा देखा जाने वाला उर्दू हिंदी टीवी चैनल अब दस्तयाब है सैटेलाइट और केबल पर। इंडिया, पाकिस्तान, सऊदी अरब, यूनाइटेड अरब इमिरात, ऑस्ट्रेलिया, न्यूजीलैंड, यूनाइटेड किंगडम और कई सारे मुमालिकों में दस्तयाब। दुनिया के कोने कोने में पहुंचेगी आपकी आवाज, सिर्फ और सिर्फ आवाज एंटरटेनमेंट के साथ।
अगर आप चाहते हैं खूबसूरत विजिटिंग कार्ड, साइन बोर्ड्स, बिल बोर्ड्स, तो कॉल कीजिए अमनदीप सिंह को 416-577-5128 416 डिजिटल साइन। Engage in CCTV security cameras, doorbell video and alarm system installation since last 20 years in Toronto. Certified team of professionals serving Ontario completed many residential and commercial projects successfully. High-ranking reviews on Google, Better Business Bureau and Home Stars. 100% satisfaction guaranteed. For free estimate, call Firoz Khan at 647-504-8325 or visit ASEAN Technology, Gateway of Communication.
Welcome back to Canadian Mosaic, folks. And we have Bhat here in the studio. And so far, we've talked a little bit about his career in geosynthetics, passion for performing arts, and his recent accomplishment for creating the film Surprise in the Night. So I want to ask a few more questions related to film as well as your passion in general, if that's all right. So you've experienced film in so many different languages, you know, being born in India, living in so many different places and everything. Do you feel that the art of filmmaking has changed over time in, you know, multiple languages as well?
Certainly, Prashanth. I mean, if you look at the film, well, it's more than 100 years now. With the technology, with the advent of technology, it has changed. I mean, you can imagine and understand that in the past, when it used to be the reels, you know, now the reels are coming back in social media, I believe, you know, it was a tough job. And it was expensive because you could not waste the film, right? And you had to do a cut, for example, on a negative cutting, as you call. It was a very sensitive process. And you would not know what's really happening till you would see. Now, with all the digital technology, you can see the footage just there. And you can make changes, you can add on, you can reshoot. You have a lot of controls within you. And now with all the technologies, as we are seeing now these days, filmmaking is easier. But at the same time, personally, I would say, which is great, but the actors should understand the content, the emotional expressions, the stimulus response, because, you know, there are different types of, you know, acting. I think acting should not be deemed as acting. It is just living, you know, just portraying a reality in an imaginary situation. So it is a stimulus response. You take the stimulus and you respond to it, right? So that part, still the human being has to do. So all the technology will garnish it, it will adorn it, it will make it nicer to, you know, to the sense of looking, the hearing, all the effects. But definitely it has become much easier than the past, for sure.
I think one thing you touched on was the human element doesn't exactly go away. So it's so important to make sure that, you know, that plays a bigger role.
And I want that all the filmmakers should realize that with all the technologies, and is great, but the human element is even more important. and that should not be compromised or underestimated.
Yeah. So you're saying that the filmmaking process and the jobs in that area is not really going away anytime soon, such as like artificial intelligence not going to take over or anything like that?
No, it'll be complementary. I think why people always think it's competing in life. It's complementing. It's a big circle.
Yeah.
It's a big, it's beyond unlimited.
Yeah.
So everyone can work together to make it a bigger circle. So no one is taking anybody's boundaries there.
Absolutely.
We're making it better.
Absolutely.
We're making it better and more value added, I would say, Yeah.
I think we've seen so many things in the Marvel films as well too, right? Like, in the Captain America, they filmed the fight with two characters, and one of them was fully everything was CGI'd, his mask and everything.
Right.
So it's really like you said, it's really complementing it, helping people do their jobs more effectively.
That's how we should see. That's right.
One question that I'd like to ask is, a lot of young people today, struggle with, their day job as well as, following their passion as well. And you seem to have done something that's both, your passion as well as your career as well. So what is your secret in doing both? And
well, that's a very good question. Actually, Prashanth, I think life, first of all, you have to discern your life, Life is short, as is my motto as well. And you have to understand yourself first, When you are doing a job as a job, I just want to do 9 to 5 and go home and every day passes, the life is hard. There is no thrill in the life, It's a life cycle as a product. Say I put engineering into that. It's a product life cycle that you are in embryonic stage, you grow, then it's a flat curve and the man is gone. So what did you do in this life? Nothing great, So I think it's very important that whatever you do in life, you enjoy it. You enjoy every moment of it, because this time I'm having a nice conversation with you. It's a great time. It won't come again, right? If you think it that way, you add value to every moment and enjoy what you're doing, but with a purpose that you want to be a better person, you want to help someone, and at the same time, see what is your passion. Like, for example, arts is your passion. Try to do that. And I think if you utilize the time properly with the right priorities, you can do it. So much of time we waste, in lives. We waste time. So if you can really put your time in the right manner, you can definitely get both of it. And then it will be complementary again. Like whatever your job is and your arts and performing, they will work together and they will uplift both of your things in that, So, and I tell you honestly, Prashanth, that our subconscious mind, it constitutes 95% power of our brain. So it's all what kind of seeds you implant there. If you implant more positive seeds of moving forward, it will come to your conscious mind and you do some good things in life.
I think a lot of people just have that intention within themselves. It's just that, like you talked about, having the priority, having that right mindset, just, let's do something. If it's, dance or something that you're interested in, just go out and just do something, right? Like nobody is stopping you from, making Instagram videos or YouTube videos or anything in general, right? So I think I say that to people a lot.
That's right. And moreover, there are some things that can, positive triggers, I call them. For example, go for a walk, do some meditation, and talk to yourself. And I tell you honestly, if we tell people, hey, a lot of problems that I want to solve it, most of the time, you will get the solution within you. Most of the time. You see, your external media, for example, around you can help you. But finally, the problems will be solved within you. Within you, there is, as I said, there's a big faculty, a very powerful faculty within yourself. Explore that. You will get all the answers, my friend.
No, that's amazing. I'm glad that I titled this episode Pursuit of Joy. So you're definitely exemplifying quite a bit of that. So it's awesome to hear.
And the important thing is that if you're not happy, how can you make others happy?
Very true.
So you're just emanating the negative vibrations, right? That doesn't mean you have not problems. Of course, there are problems you are, going through every day. But every problem definitely has a solution.
Absolutely. I think it's like perception is your reality.
And I tell people, when you come with a problem, great. Come with one solution at least. Maybe it's not the right one, but that attitude of thinking, hey, I'm not just coming with a problem, I'm coming with some possible solution. Then what happens? We get geared towards to be part of a solution, not a problem.
No, absolutely. So I'm going to take a little bit of a break into from the questions and have some fun with you as well.
Sure.
So I usually...
Let's have some fun here.
Let's do it.
All right, this is my favorite glasses here. Okay, so
let's do it. So I call this game React. So I'm going to ask a couple of questions, and the first thing that comes to your mind, just say it out loud without too much thought in the process. Cool. All right. So what is your favorite movie of all time in any languages?
I would say Godfather, Hollywood, and the second would be Lagan. That was from India.
Wow. Any particular reason, Lagan? Like, you're a fan of cricket, or?
Lagan had again a great message because it was showing the era of the Victorian time, the British rule in India, and how the people of that village were taxed by the government, and they had to win the match, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it was a very interesting topic and very well done. So one of the best films. See, it changes like as of today, but there could be this list may change. I'm just saying as of today, right?
Right. There is another cricket movie, 83. I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, I was supposed to see it yesterday or something, but unfortunately now I believe, with restrictions, but I'm sure I'll see it someday.
Yeah, interested to see how that is.
Yeah, because...
who is your favorite artist of all time?
Again, I'll compare Hollywood, Bollywood, because they're two different, of course, artist and artist, doesn't matter. Well, it's Al Pacino in Hollywood, and from India, it's late Dilip Kumar.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Why Al Pacino? Any specific reason?
I don't know. The reason, as I have seen his films as a kid, since I was a kid. There is something, as I said, is an art, right? There is no, it's not something, it's something intrinsic that that wave comes to you. I liked his mannerism, his confidence, and I have seen most of his films, actually. And one of his films was The Scent of a Woman. He won, I think, he won the Academy Award. It was 90s, 93 or 94. He was a blind in that film. Amazing film. So great actor.
Amazing, yeah. So if you're given the choice, what is the favorite thing you'd like to do? So you have been acting in some of your films as well. So would you choose more the acting side, or more so the directing side?
I think what I would do, Prashanth, now after doing kind of everything in this film, I would be a director in one film and an actor in another film. How does that sound? That would put a little bit pressure off me,
No, that is true. So I think like acting and directing. So sometimes I wonder, like, how do people do both? There are people that are, acting as well as directing their own films. That must be a huge challenge.
Yeah. You see, don't forget, I'm into geosynthetics as well. I have a lot of responsibilities there. I travel a lot in the world.
Absolutely.
I educate engineers. We do a lot of research. So I think if I do one thing in a film and do it well, I'll be very happy.
Do it right. No, that's definitely, yeah, for sure. What's your favorite pastime hobby?
My favorite pastime, whenever I have a little pastime, what I do is I just watch old Hindi songs.
Old as in 80s, 60s,
No,
70s?
You'll be surprised. Anything 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s.
Oh, okay. Is there a particular movie, songs, artist that you're...
I like the melody, the melodious songs, for example. You'll be surprised. I have, as I said, I've been reading about the Bollywood films since a kid. I enjoy watching, for example, the film Pukar of 1934 or 35. I would love a song from there. I would also love a song from 90s film, for example, in different styles and different moods. So I like melody. I like, in a song, again, of course, it should be melodious. It should have some nice class and some good message. So, but I like different genres from different times. And I like Indian classical music as well when it comes to Santoor, or when it comes to dance forms like Kathak or Bharatnatyam. They're also amazing, art forms, basically, right?
That's amazing, yeah. See, when you talk about, classic films and old films, the one thing that comes to my mind is Sholay. So Sholay is one of the more classical films, and it's still, watched today. So if you were given the opportunity to remake a classic film like, Sholay, what kind of changes would you make to the original script? And, would you direct it yourself, or would you pass it on to somebody else? So what would you do?
I think it's a very mega question you're asking me. I find myself to be a very small speck to answer this question. Well, I must tell you something, Prashanth. The Sholay was a blockbuster of its time, and Mr. Ramesh Sippy, who was the director of the film, amazing job. It was released on 15th of August, 1975. And what happened is, I would say if anyone wants to venture to make this film and remake, I don't think you can add more value to this film when it was made then, in those circumstances. you can do that. But yes, if you ask me what I would have done differently after seeing the film around 25 times, the dialogues of the film were like national anthems. So you know what it was, right? You know, what I would do is, if you ask me, well, I wouldn't say this then, I was a small kid.
Yeah.
But now I would say that in the end, I would have made a happy ending. Well, nothing, well, whatever the director did that time, I appreciate what he did. But what I think I would have done, I would make sure that Jai, that was Amit Ji in the film, he doesn't die. And finally, he gets some smile on Radha. Radha was Jayaji in the film, and she was the bow of Thakur, right? And she was a widow, as you know, if you remember the story. And I would get him married to her, because that would kindle a spark of happiness, a joy in a family that had so many problems, and and I think that would give a good positive ending. That's what I would have done.
Okay, yeah. Like, I think it is. I mean, it's so many years since the film has been, but I definitely would agree with that as well. We talked a little bit about the younger version of yourself. So I want to ask yourself, if you had to go back in time and give some advice to the younger version of yourself, what would you have to say to him?
Well, I think I would do what my dad used to tell me that time. And typically when your parents guide and tell you, you don't listen, right? Then after many years, you realize, hey, he was right, Well, my dad always used to tell me, I was a fast kid, very naughty kid and very curious kid, basically, which is good in a way, right?
Yeah.
So he used to tell me, just have more patience. So I think whatever I did was great, but if I had more patience, that would be better.
I think you've learned a lot of patience in creating this film
definitely,
as well.
That was said. I said, see, I think a passion is extremely important to do these things, and to be able to do your profession and your passion, on a similar footing. But filmmaking and finally making it happen, and people liked it. So it has given me a lot of patience as well. But the passion should stay. Passion should not go down. It should be coupled with passion. Passion and patience together.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah. Sam, you're also a writer, right? So you've published a book as well in the past.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit about the book as well?
The book name is A Dark Tale of Love. It's on Amazon, and we will do it in the marketing, and many people read it, they liked it. So it was just showing the effect of the new technologies of social media on the people. It can have positive and negative impact as well if it is not used properly or within limits, right? So it can have some impact on the social, in the relationships, and also it's a great, I mean, as you know, the social media that we can find our old friends and stuff is great, but at the same time, it all needs to be used with caution and ensure that what I should do and what I should not do with those relationships.
Right. No, that's interesting. So what can we expect from more of you in the future? So you did mention a few projects that are coming up in the film side. So what can we expect in the future?
As I said, I know, well, let's hope, let's keep fingers crossed that, we get out of COVID fully, sooner than later. And we are working now, we have just started working, in fact, just from the January the 2nd, actually, on a short video, on a small, video on the Surprise in the Night. And we are also working on the script. Then I have many of my friends in the industry here in Toronto. One of the directors, Raj, he was a part of my film as well. He did a wonderful film, Ami, if you remember. It was a great film when you saw the film festival. So he's doing the full script of the film, and I'll be doing a role in that film as well. And one more film, I'll be doing a role. So, so that, I think that will be enough for this year.
Okay.
And we'll, of course, stay tuned. You'll know, obviously, as we embark on the next level.
Yeah. So where can viewers kind of take a look at Surprise in the Night for the time being?
Right. The Surprise in the Night till now has been only sent through password protected Vimeo links. So we were actually waiting for all the film festivals to finish and do the in-person screening that we did recently. And now we'll be soon putting it on the OTT, digital distribution. It could be through Amazon Prime or Netflix, or we're talking to many of those. And once it's ready, it will be there. So of course I'll let you know, and people can watch it on those
Yeah.
digital platforms,
No,
for sure.
it's amazing. I think it's just the whole digital world helped see
Oh,
all these
yeah.
films as well. So, some people might be looking at this interview so much later, like, oh yeah, I want to watch this film. So
Oh, yeah. No, many people told me, in fact. So, as I said, because the film festivals don't want to show it
Yeah.
in their festivals or don't want to judge it, and they don't want to be, it to be visible to the public, at that
Right.
point. But now I think time has come. Certainly we want people to see it.
Oh,
for sure.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
certainly.
No, this is such an exciting interview, Sam. So before we wrap up, do you have anything to say to the audience that's currently watching the show? So we talked about so many different things, but do you have a message for the audience?
I know audience is very smart what to tell them, but I'll just share a few cents with the audience. Guys, thanks for listening to us today. And I would just say that life is short. Enjoy every moment. Trust in yourself. Be what you are. And be happy. And always, when you get up in the morning, be happy that you have a day to do some great deeds, and see in the evening what better can I do tomorrow. And if you have this attitude every day, you will see that time goes so quick and you will be healthy. Try new things, like the height of insanity, as Einstein has said, that doing the same thing over and over again the same way, and how can you expect different results, So go ahead and be positive always. There is no dead end. There is no dead end in this life, folks, at all. It's all here. And when you are happy, you're positive, you will pass it to the other person. So it's viral. And that's how the world should be.
Absolutely.
And thank you very much for listening to us, folks, tonight.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much, Sam, for coming on the show and enlightening us with your journey through filmmaking, as well as sharing us your story, your technical career, and so many things that we talked about in today's show. So on behalf of the viewers and Awaz Entertainment, we wish you success and all the very best for the remaining efforts of Surprise in the Night, as well as your career in the technical field, as well as the performing arts. So thank you all for watching the show. So that's all we have time for today. I'm your host, Prashanth, as part of Canadian Mosaic. And if you've enjoyed the show, please do follow us on social media. Remember, life is too short for regrets. Stay positive and enjoy the ride in pursuing your passions. Thank you for tuning in, and goodbye for now.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Prashant.